Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to HHS online classes. Today's virtual lesson is for your English language topic phrases and clauses. This is the third and final part of phrases and clauses as you have already taken 2 sessions for this topic. We will be focusing on clauses for this session, and our objectives would be to demonstrate the difference between phrases and clauses in a given sentence. Then we are going to cover independent clauses, understand their structure, and also explore the use of coordinating conjunctions. Then we are going to learn about dependent clauses, how these clauses are structured, and what is the use of subordinate conjunctions in these clauses. Then we will try and identify the independent and dependent clauses in given sentences. Do you remember what you have studied in the previous 2 sessions of phrases and clauses? Let's have a recap. Phrases are a group of words that include either the subject or the verb. They cannot have both. They will have either the noun, which is the subject and some additional information about it, or they might have an action word, which is the verb, and some additional information about it. You must remember that the verb and additional information is also called the predicate. For example, if you have a phrase with a subject that only has the subject inside, it could be the old brown cupboard. The cupboard is our noun, and its description, the old brown cupboard, is the adjective with it. Together, these group of words become a phrase. Similarly, phrase with the verb could be honking loudly, because it also gives us an additional information about the verb. Clauses are a bit different, because a clause is a group of words that contains both a subject and a verb. It can convey complete meaning and can stand on its own. It does not need some additional information to complete its meaning. When a clause is given, it sounds like a complete sentence. Let's practice. Open up page number 116 of your textbook Hodder Primary and read the sentences in exercise 1. There are 7 sentences here, and what I have done is that I have picked out a part of these sentences which we are going to identify as phrases or clauses. These are the parts that I've picked out. And now your task is to identify as phrases or clauses. I'm going to give you the answer right now. So you can just take some time, pause the video, and have this done on a rough sheet with you. The first one is in the bowl. What do you think this is? This is a phrase because it is telling us something about the subject, that it is in the bowl. We do not get a complete meaning from it because we don't know what's in the bowl. The second one is the boy stared. This is a clause because it contains both a subject and a verb. The boy is the subject and stared is the clause. Across the road. What do you think this is? This is a phrase. Across the road does not have any verb in it. It just has the subject and some additional information about it. Behind the house. This is pretty similar. So this is also a phrase. The children wondered. We have a subject that's doing some action, so our subject and verb are given together in this group of words. Therefore, it is going to be a clause. Under a stone. It tells us about the position of the stone, but there is no action involved. It does not convey a complete meaning, hence it's a phrase. Many houses were damaged. This has to be a clause because we get a complete meaning from it, plus our subject and verb are both together. I hope you scored well in this revision exercise. Let's come to clauses. What are independent clauses? This is a type of clause in which the group of words will contain a subject and a verb and will also express a complete thought. It is also called the main clause of a sentence. Independent clauses can stand on their own. They convey a complete meaning, and you do not need to add any other information to make the sentence complete. For example, my friend told me a story. This is a complete sentence. It has a subject, which is friend, and it has a verb, which is told. When two independent clauses are combined in a single sentence, it is called a compound sentence. A compound sentence is made up of two clauses, both of which are independent. Sometimes we might even have more than two independent clauses inside a compound sentence. Consider the following independent clauses. This house is too expensive. That house is too small. If I wish to give both these pieces of information in one sentence, I need to join them up. Consider this single sentence. This house is too expensive, but that house is too small. So, we put both the independent clauses into one single sentence, combined together with one helping word, and made up a compound sentence. The helping word is very important. It is called a coordinating conjunction. A compound sentence is one in which two or more independent clauses are combined using coordinating conjunctions. And don't forget the punctuations. We also put a comma or a semicolon as required. Coordinating conjunctions are joining words. They will join both your independent clauses depending upon what information is being conveyed. Remember the acronym FANBOYS? They will help you recall all the coordinating conjunctions that we have. These conjunctions join words, phrases, and clauses. F stands for, which is reasoning, and stands for and. This is for addition. N stands for nor when we give one information but the other one is not the same. B stands for but. But when we talk about two opposing informations or two opposing clauses, or when we give choices, then yet when there is something that is happening in spite of the other thing, and so, which is again a reasoning conjunction. Let's have an activity now. Use conjunctions to join these independent clauses into a compound sentence. I will read the sentences to you, and once you have read all the sentences, I hope you have your conjunctions ready for them. I went to the movies. I didn't ask my mother. He is overweight. He eats lots of junk food. London is in England. Rome is in Italy. Will Susan go? Will John go? He was feeling sick. He went to the doctor. Now please see that both clauses in every sentence are independent. Our job now is to join these independent sentences into a single compound sentence. Let's look at the first one. I went to the movies, but I didn't ask my mother. For the second, he is overweight for he eats lots of junk food. You give a reason. London is in England and Rome is in Italy. You're giving two pieces of information and they're adding to each other, so we use the conjunction and. Will Susan go or will John go? We were giving an option. We were asking for what option there is, who's going to go. He was feeling sick, so he went to the doctor. This is cause and effect. Let's read about dependent clauses now. Dependent clauses are also a group of words that contain a subject and a verb, but the difference is that a complete thought is not expressed by this group of words. Even though the subject and the verb are both there, we still feel the need of some other sentence or other clause that would complete the meaning. This is called the subordinate clause, a clause that is depending upon another. Consider these examples. Stepping into the room. Can you identify the verb and the noun in it? Both of them are there together. Room is your subject and stepping is the verb. But did you get a complete information with this clause? Stepping into the room, you don't know what happens next. You don't know who's doing this action. So some more information is needed in order to make sense, in order to convey a complete thought. After I had lunch. After I had lunch is also a dependent clause because you don't know what has happened after you had lunch. So it is depending upon more information to be given. Whenever the shop opens. Whenever the shop opens is a dependent clause because even though the verb and the subject are there, it still needs some important information to be completed. A dependent clause needs to be joined with an independent clause to form a complex sentence. There is a need of a linking word that would join the dependent clause and the independent clause. And for this purpose, we use subordinating conjunctions. Subordinating conjunctions are different from coordinating conjunctions, which are only used to link independent clauses together in a compound sentence. But in a complex sentence, when one clause is dependent and the other is independent, the subordinating conjunctions would be used. Consider this sentence. I hate scary movies. I did not watch the new one. Now, if I change one of the clause into dependent clauses, because I hate scary movies, I did not watch the new one. The word because becomes a link because he says that since he hates the scary movies, he cannot watch the new one. There's a link between both the clauses. This is a list for subordinating conjunctions in order to help you to create your own complex sentences and also in order to identify whether a sentence is complex or compound. Let me try and give you two examples from this. Read the subordinating conjunctions given under the topic of time. In this subordinating conjunction, we are going to link two clauses that will have different information about something that is done, about the timing of an event. For example, if I use the first subordinating conjunction here, after. After I completed my work, I packed my bag. I packed my bag will become the independent clause, and after I completed my work will become the dependent clause. So what is your complex sentence? After I completed my work, I packed my bag. Let's try another subordinating conjunctions in the box of condition. A condition is placed when one thing is dependent on another. Like if. If you clean your room, I will give you a present. If you clean your room, I will give you a present. So this is where you can use the subordinating conjunctions in order to combine one dependent and one independent sentence. Let's move towards another activity. I'm going to give you a list of clauses and you are going to match the dependent clause with an appropriate independent clause so that the sentence would convey a complete thought. This is clause 1. It can be either independent or dependent. This is the list of clause 2. It could also be either independent or dependent. I would recommend you to now pause the video and try to solve this and match the correct ones in your rough copy. Then I have the answers ready for you. I hope you've done all of them. Now let's match the appropriate ones. Looking in the first column, the first clause is when I was last in line. Since it has a subordinating conjunction and it does not convey a complete meaning, it's a dependent clause. And from column number 2, we are in search of an independent clause that will complete the meaning and create a complete complex sentence. When I was last in line, I almost didn't get any lunch. I hope you got that right. It's hard to study. It's hard to study is an independent clause because it is conveying a complete meaning. It's hard to study when my mother is watching television. You see that the second one was a dependent clause, again with another subordinating conjunction in front of it. Let's come to the third one. Though we had heard the news, we refused to believe it. The first one was dependent and the second one was independent. Whenever I wear these shoes, is it a complete meaning? No, it's not a complete thought. Therefore, it's dependent. Whenever I wear these shoes, I get a blister. After it was renovated, Hotel Grand looked very nice. My father is always exhausted after he works all day. If you want to be my friend, you will tell me the truth. Although we requested to help, we didn't get any. I hope all of those were correct and you can easily identify the dependent and the independent clauses. Your home assignment is to complete the uploaded assignment on Google document, and you can also watch a fun YouTube video for reference which will be given to you in the instructions of your assignment. I hope you enjoyed the session and I hope you will remember all the knowledge imparted to you in this virtual session. This marks our end of the topic phrases and clauses. Thank you so much. Take care. Allah Hafiz.